So as we can see today is a modern, recent update map by top elite Illuminati members. This map has been leaked. It's not for the public. Only the globe map is for the public. This flat earth map is only for the higher level elite Illuminati peoples. But as we can see, today's story is about the aliens and alien abductions of the land of the Anunnaki. As you can see on this map, to the center left, there is our countries surrounded by the Antarctic ice wall, and then beyond that is a larger circle, and beyond that is to the south east is the Tierras Anunnaki, which means the land of the Anunnaki, and that's where our tale comes from today. And how it all began, it was like this. The moment we want to believe something, we suddenly see all the arguments for it. George Bernard Shaw. Well, whether you believe it or not, this is the story of my hand account of strange things. I've seen a lot of strange things in my life. I suppose it keeps you occupied. Otherwise, what would life be without these strange things, miracles or Mandela effects? And I've seen so many spirits. Thank you. I'm very happy that I have seen and continue to see many spirits. But recently, I've been feeling them. Like yesterday, I was on the bus and no one was sat behind me, and I felt something push her. So it just lets you know that yes, my spiritual beliefs and my spiritual development is it lets you know. But for those people who don't, in my opinion, for those people who are conditioned by school and by the media to not develop any spirituality or not to believe in these things, then there's an old saying: before you can experience something, you must first believe it is possible. For those people who choose not to believe, then I don't see how they can experience such things. So as we can see on the map here, it says Tierras Anunnaki, which I know I think I've been to this Tierras Anunnaki place. Now let me explain what happened. So basically, you have dreams, don't you? And some dreams are real, and when you're having some dreams in your sleep, you can't differentiate them between being awake or not being awake. I understand that. I have these type of dreams. I think everyone does. I think everyone has been watching a certain type of genre of movie or thinking about certain things with the imagination a lot, and it's just continued on that theme into your dreams. So I understand that can happen as well. I understand that sometimes when you're dreaming in bed, you're aware that you are aware that you're dreaming, and other times you're not aware that you're dreaming. And the characters in my dreams when I sleep, they seem to be spirits. They seem to be trying to mess with you, trying to play games with you, or trying to develop you, trying to see what you're made of. They're trying to see if you're scared or if you're strong, or you want to see if you're keeping the faith. So basically, I know it would make sense either way. For those people who believe in a globe, it would make sense to them that I and certain people have been abducted by things which they would say aliens. Say if an atheist was looking at what had happened to me and certain people, they would say, well, clearly from their own setups, from their own understanding, from their beliefs, I and certain people were abducted by aliens into a craft of such, and we were taken to another planet. That would be the logical conclusion because of the model of beliefs that there are other planets with other life forms that do things on Earth, research and studies and tests, trials and upgrades and whatever and helping people out as well. I've known personally, and that these aliens are, some of them are good. They do help you, as and when God permits. But the thing is, they're not all bad. Now, if you were not an atheist, say if you believed in the Bible, or you were a Muslim, or a Jew or something, or a Christian, and you believed in flat Earth, then you would say that these abductions still happen, but the aliens that are abducting us, for one, they are questionable. Are they really aliens, or are they spiritual beings that are abducting people? And if you believe in the flat Earth model, which I can see not a lot of people do, then you would say they're taking us to faraway lands at great speeds, rapid speeds, which I would say, I wouldn't say rival the speed of sunlight, but I would say, from my own experience, that I found myself, I went to sleep one night, and the curtains were blacked out, And I was half asleep, so you might say, oh well, you weren't, this might have been a dream, but I don't think it was a dream. But if you're skeptical, you might say this is just a dream. And a light came on in my room. And the length of my room seemed to alter, seemed to get longer. And it stayed longer, which is like an upgrade for your house. Which is, yeah. But the thing is, I'm a type of person that is not easily tricked, because I have had many real life, first hand. I'm proud and privileged and happy to say, thank God, I can say thank you that I have had many experiences first hand of being visited by ghosts and spirits. I will not go into great detail about all these sightings that I've seen and visitations that I've had. The common one is waking up in the night and seeing a spectre at the end of your bed. Clearly. And if you were an atheist, for those viewers out there that you are atheists, I respect that as well, because you clearly believe in the globe model, and you clearly believe in aliens and multiple worlds where aliens come from in spaceships and abduct people, so that works out well as well. And for those who are not atheists, who have a religious belief, who believe in a book or something, or have their own experiences, which they've attracted via belief, well, then I can say for a fact that I've seen things at the end of my bed. I've even seen a ghost-like small baby tiger, a tiger cub, walking. This is when I lived in another house, walking on the ceiling into my bedroom. It wasn't physical, it was a ghost cub of a tiger. If it had been a full-size tiger, I would have been terrified. But because it was only a cub, a baby tiger, and it looked physical, but you could tell it was spiritual. It was a spirit tiger cub walking upside down on the ceiling, and it made eye contact with me, and it had all the shine and wetness and glow in its eyes. I shouldn't be talking. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, I have seen shape-shifting things before. So from my own point of view, I would say whatever took me, I'm suspecting whatever took me in the night to NIBIRU, to the land of the Anunnaki, which is on this map. I would suspect they are spiritual beings, because I do believe I'm not very religious, but that's my understanding. However, I do respect my anyone who's listening to this who doesn't have that belief. If you do believe in aliens or whatever, then you would just say, yes, I've been abducted by aliens, and what does the word alien mean anyway? Alien means, I've been called an alien myself before. Alien means a foreigner, doesn't it? Anyway, so let's go back to the beginning. I was in my room. The blinds, sometimes the curtains, sometimes I leave them open. Sometimes I close them. Sometimes I have my window open. Sometimes I sleep with my windows shut or open. Sometimes I have my curtains open, shut. That particular night, I had my curtains shut. It was quite blacked out room. I was very drowsy, in a heavy drowsy state. And as I said, the first lovely thing that happened to me was that the light went on in the room. And seemingly without moving, the window seemed to get further away from me, though I was stationary in my bed, but my eyes were open enough to be seeing this bright light, and it was a type of light that seemed to have no lamp. The light didn't seem to have a source. And it was a type of light that was very, 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 very bright, but it did not light up the room. The room was still dark. Now, if it had been like a light from outside coming through the curtains, say from a car headlamps or from whatever, or from something, or shining a torch at you, well, that light would travel. This light was very, 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 very bright, but the light didn't travel. It didn't. The rest of the room was really dark. The desk next to my bed, it's all pitch black. The walls of my room were dark, pitch black. I've got pictures on my wall. You couldn't see them. I've got a bookcase here, full of different books, antique books, religious books, story books, children's books, Dianetics, all kinds of books, and they were pitch black. So I knew something was up straight away. And I felt like I wanted to go there. But I was in a type of sleep. No, I was awake, but I was in a type of... I wasn't moving much. I could move my eyes, I can see. I could just move my fingers. I remember moving my fingers. And I was aware that this light, something was watching me. The feeling of being watched. And I began to feel light, very light, like I was floating. And for some reason, my window is solid glass, but it seemed to have opened up. I seemed to just have floated out, like I was stuck in the air, and I just seemed to have floated out, like I was on some kind of tractor beam. And outside my house, I know other people saw it, was a silver craft without any joins, without any nuts or bolts. Oh, I think someone's watching Mary Poppins actually in the other house. I can see through the window or something. Yeah, something. And so I think it's Superman. So yeah, I came out and there was a silver craft, like the shape of an oblong thing, and it didn't have any door, but a door appeared from nowhere with this bright light coming out of it. And of particular note, the light didn't go in all directions. The light was like a tractor beam just on me. The light didn't go, because it was dark outside. The light wasn't like a normal light that shines light everywhere. It was just a light on me. I'm not sure even if other people could see this light. I'm certain they saw the silver craft. And obviously, a normal person would be shitting it by now. But I had trust in God that I knew everything would be okay. I knew this was going to work out to my advantage. I knew that, another person would have been like absolutely terrified if they are witnessing that they are literally being abducted by aliens. They would be absolutely terrified. But I had trust in God. I knew, I trust you. I trusted God in this time of trouble. I knew I trusted that what was meant for my harm, He will turn into my advantage. He will rescue me, and He will and I will give Him great glory. I knew that when He brings me out of it, I knew that He would bring me through this and bring me out of it, and I knew that He would bring me out of it even better than I thought. I knew, I just, I kept the faith. God, I just said, God, this problem, it's just going to promote me to a new level of my destiny. I know you have saved me from the small troubles. I know you're going to bring me out of this even more prosperous and even better into a new level of my destiny. And I just said these things in my mind. I just said, God opens for me abundant prosperity. I just knew that I said, God will keep me safe. I trust God will keep me and my family safe, I just knew, I just had a trust in me, a serenity that all things will work together for my good. And I just also had a feeling of serenity. Now, maybe it was the aliens were putting some kind of vibration device on me to make me feel tranquil, to make me feel like everything's going to be alright. Because I should have been terrified. If you're now in bed and your body's being moved through the window and you're floating towards a silver craft and you're being on a tractor beam, you should be terrified, shouldn't you? And I wasn't able to move my body. I was just floating through the air, into this craft. And there I was. And when I got in the craft, I found rest gently. I found myself at rest, gently, on this metal table, on a sterile metal table. And I could see the comfort and coolness of my eyes as a woman of great beauty was on another metal table, and her arms were not moving, and she rolled her eyes in her skull and looked at me. And I could see these. It was dark inside the craft. It was a physical craft. It's not spiritual, this craft. So whether these aliens were spiritual beings or physical, whatever you think, but I personally knew. I just felt better than I should have about this circumstance. I just felt better about it. I just knew we would be safe. I just no worries. Doesn't make sense. Maybe they had sedated me, put some kind of relaxing factor, something to make me rest. And I just knew circumstances for going through this type of thing. I knew circumstances would get better. My circumstances would improve. I just knew it. And I felt my muscles, relax. I felt new muscles, like in the upper right portion of my inner chest. I felt them like metal, and thick and soft. And I felt the muscles in my quads like metal, just tighten up. Whereas other muscles in my shoulder and neck and backs were relaxing. And a scan went over me. Like a scan went over me from my feet over my body to my head and back. And when it scanned me, it was like a warm sensation in my muscles, in my body, it wasn't just scanning me, this scan. Like a scan went over the top of my body as I was led down on this metal table stereo metal table. A scan went over my body from my feet, head and back, and I felt like, because before that I had some kind of tension in my traps, in my upper back, here and there, in the side of, and it just released all of that. It was better than a deep tissue massage. A scan went from my feet all the way up my body, like a constant rate. I just relaxed all my muscles. I just relaxed everything, just released everything, and all the way up to my head, just beyond the top of my head, and then it went back all the way down my feet, as if like it was like a futuristic type of device where you didn't even need to insert anything in your body, didn't need to make cuts or insertions in the body or anything. And I don't really believe in luck or charms. I think it's all the will of God, but even my faith in that isn't the greatest. People may say, oh well, it's just an alien abduction. It's just one of the common alien abductions that many people do talk about. And they certainly were aliens. But luckily I never saw, well, to begin with, I never saw their faces or anything. I could see it was very dark in the craft. I could see that there were beings around me, but they deliberately, so that I wouldn't be scared, their limbs were all dark. You couldn't see their arms as such, but you could make out their arms, but they weren't clear. They were like vague, and there was darkness, like a mask of veils over their faces, so I couldn't see any hideousness or anything. So I think they have learned from their experiences not to scare people. But later on I did see some of their faces, and I will tell you about that. So there was a bit of consistency over perfection. And basically, they had computers and things in the craft. And I could tell that we were travelling at speed. And I could tell when we slowed down and stopped, because I could feel it. And they put some kind of non-injectory drug into me. I just felt really good, and I could see, and they brought up on a screen, like they had a screen, and on the screen came, when they were scanning the scan, came up a familiar picture came up on the screen of a double helix, which I know was my DNA. And there's the DNA zoomed into my DNA of this double helix, and I saw things going in and out of my DNA, and they did something to my DNA, and they changed my DNA, and they wanted me to know that, and I felt it. I felt them changing my DNA. Even the appearance of my body looks different. Even my face looks a bit different now. Not much, but more my body looks different. It's like they changed my body without changing my body. It's like they changed my DNA, which somehow changed my body, and they did that scan, which made me feel better. I didn't have any creaks. Since then, I haven't had any stiffness in my neck. I haven't had any stiff traps or anything. I no longer have a, there's no issues with my, body. So basically, they took me, whether you believe it's another planet or whether you believe it is or if you believe it's just a land far away, they took me to the land of the Anunnaki. I believe they took me to the land of the Anunnaki. I'm going to tell you what I saw as well. The streets of Anunnaki. I walked. I did see one of the faces though. It was like alien, massive eyes that stood out, and his fingers were long and like E.T., like that E.T. thing. Anyway, he acted professionally, like a doctor or something. He didn't, mess with me. Nothing was put up my bum. If this is an experience you would like to have, that you believe that's possible for you to have, I want you to know the benefits outweigh the experience. It's a wonderful experience. It's one of the best experiences, one of the best nights of my life. Anyway, this woman that I was next to, this beautiful woman, her heart, she was also led down on a sterile metal table, and her heart, she would have, they must have telepathic things. I just had a feeling that she wanted to reach out and grab my hand, because she could have done, if she could move her arm. She's beautiful skin, oof, beautiful body. I saw her and her heart in her chest. They did a scan, and they must have found something with her heart, because her heart glue. It was like glowing out of her chest like a light, and I just felt like the respect and love of me was inserted into her heart. I feel that was done for me, and or she will. That's what it felt like. Either that, or that they were just like doing something to her heart, and I must have been like her hero. Anyway, the craft landed, and it made a noise, because usually it flew silently. When it landed, it did make a little bit of noise, a little bit of a bump, and then we were out in like a jungle. The side of the craft just vanished and became like a door. Though there was no hinges and no door, there was no door there. It was just like the side of the craft just vanished, and it became like a door. And we could walk. And these aliens, they walked and left the craft, and they left the door open, and we could suddenly move our arms and legs. So me and this woman, we got up, and there was another man there as well that I hadn't seen because it was too dark in the craft. So there was three of us. There was me, this beautiful woman, this older man, and we got out, and we walked down the ramp of the craft, like down a silver ramp, down to the ground. And the ground was like reddish. And there was lots of strange fruits and trees, and massive, huge trees. I mean, huge, massive trees were there. So I knew we was in a strange place that was like a free holiday for me. I love holidays. I suppose I live to go on holidays, and this was like a holiday experience of a lifetime. And I have a lot of friends that have been to Thailand, so my first thoughts were, this is hot. And with all the jungle and all that, I'd never been to Thailand, but I've got a lot of friends who've been to Thailand, and they told me little bits, snippets about Thailand, and I just presumed. My first thoughts is this is good. This is Thailand. But then on closer inspection, at the huge leaves, like massive leaves, like huge leaves, and strange fruits with knobbly bits on it, purple fruits with little things on them, and these things hanging down. And the first thing I felt was, I need a poo. Suddenly I needed a massive poo. And obviously there's these aliens in front of us with their backs towards us, presuming that we would presumably follow them, because They were mentally trying to make us follow them telepathically. And this suddenly, I needed a poo. So I was in a massive jungle. I didn't know where I was. Presumably Thailand. I don't know. I've never been to Thailand, but I've got some friends who have been to Thailand, and it was very hot. Very hot. Which I enjoy. I was thankful for that. You know, I am always trying to stay positive, see the what I'm thankful for. I always expect good outcomes, and I'm thankful for stuff. It's just a habit. So I was appreciative to be here, and I wasn't tired. I was like revitalized, refreshed, and this gorgeous, this beautiful woman was with me. I just felt fantastic. I was kind of laughing, inside my head, and smirking because this old guy was with us, and he was like traumatized, and it was well fun. Oh, and he was touching his bum as if they'd done something to him. I saw he had a little, he looked shocked. He looked. Oh, he was not prepared for this. I didn't know the guy, but I got to know him. So basically, I needed a poo. So I went into the bush, and I dropped my trousers, and I did a massive poo. Huge, absolutely huge in the bushes, and the aliens in front of us, and the grey one with the big head, and slender arms and all that, and really long fingers, and these fingers becomes like round at the fingertips, like really, like almost like a lizard, like pads, and he just stopped, and they gave me a sense that they're our friends, and they gave me a feeling, like telepathically, that like we're dogs, or that we're their friends, and that we'd been selected. I just felt privileged that we had been selected, privileged, and I just loved it here. I didn't know what we're doing, where we're going, but even in my day-to-day life, I usually don't know what I'm doing or where I'm going. And here it was just fantastic. And I'd shortly find out that it wasn't Thailand, presumably, that we were in, because there was no pagodas and all them things. There was huge trees. I saw a massive. I'd done my poos. I had a good look at poo. It was massive. It's like all the badness that accumulated, all toxins and rubbish had come out of me. And it was as if the aliens knew I was going to do a poo. And I looked up, and I saw this. It looked like our sky, but different, a bit more orangey in the sky, like a vague tint of orange in the sky instead of blue. But there was, if I'm honest, I'd be lying to say there was some blue in there as well. But then what happened was we could breathe easily, so it was fantastic. It's like my lung capacity had increased or something. Well, I could already breathe easily, but this was fantastic. Anyway, I didn't run away. I looked up, I saw these huge trees that would at least as tall as any skyscraper. Huge trees, massive, absolutely like silver huge trees, and they branched out every now and then with quite wide branches. I just thought, I've never seen a trees this big in my life. Anyway, I didn't run away, because where was I going to run? So I just followed them. And this girl, this beautiful young woman, absolutely fantastic woman, like a movie star woman, she was with me. This old man was with me, and we were like following them, these aliens. And the number of the aliens was 4. was 4 of them and 3 of us. But we was in a group together, and we walked and we came, and I caught up with them. I just jogged to them. And the woman, with her smooth arms, delicate arms, she grabbed me and held me. She didn't know what was going on. There was this old guy with us who's obviously been abducted, probably first, and he just looks petrified. He doesn't have a clue what's going on. Remember how hot it is. We didn't know where we were. Presumably, we're in the land of the Anunnaki, or on NIBIRU or somewhere. This old guy doesn't have a clue. He thinks he's on a different planet. You can see the fear in his eyes. He's just not mentally prepared for this. Whereas I was mentally prepared for the unexpected. That was one of the key differences. So there was just like a smell of like stir fry in the air. And we came, and the bushes parted. They must have had some telepathic kinesis thing. The bushes parted, and there was this city there. City with like shards and domes and Super Bowls and all kinds of things. And we were like up high. And we got on this like a lift type thing, which would take us down into the city. And I wasn't getting in that lift with these 4 aliens. One of them was a grey alien. The rest had suits on. You couldn't see their faces because they had masks on with visors and all that. But you could see the grey alien's body and grey head and these massive eyes and that. And I wasn't getting in there. And definitely this woman ain't gonna share a lift with these aliens. This old man was out of his mind. He was going crazy. He was fucking stumbling, tremoring. He was shaking. He didn't have a clue what he was doing. He must have been about maybe late 50s, 60-year-old guy. And he was swearing. He had like an Australian accent. And I just felt privileged. I just felt restful and privileged to even be here. I thought, this is so much better. This is like a free holiday for me. I loved it. And there was another lift appeared, and we got in the lift next to them. There was like a glass screen in between. The 4 aliens were in their lift, we were in our lift, and we went down together. And we went down, and then the turnaround, they like spun as they got halfway down the cliff face. They spun around, so we had a good view of the city below us. And then we just went down. And then we got to the level where it was like ground level. I was just in awe. I was just in admiration of this city that we found ourselves in. A city hidden down by the base of a cliffside. Absolutely futuristic. And the first thing I noticed was these like purple people and blue people and people that looked like people, but the skin was blue. And I just thought, no wonder these filmmakers get their ideas from somewhere. They must be in contact with these aliens or spirit people, alien things as well, because they were like that. They were like blue people from that movie Avatar. It sounds ridiculous, but if you were there now, you'd see the same thing as well. So anyway, we walked down the street, and the grey turned and looked at us, and his fingers were really long, and he just slowly beckoned them for us to follow him. And they had treated us quite well in the spacecraft, so we followed them, because where we were going to run anyway. There was lights and beams and shards, and the streets were made from the streets were made from like light. Some of the streets, the pavements were wide. The pavements were made from like flat marble. The buildings were the architecture of the buildings was phenomenal. You know, some of the buildings were just like seamless. It was all weird, and there was people on the streets. Some people entertaining for money and dancing, playing a strange type of fluorescent flute. And this woman who was in the spacecraft with me, she was staying close to me. And this other guy, this old guy, they must have got him first, because the old guy who was abducted with us, he was off his rocker, but he was like confused because he was enjoying the experience, but you know, it was new experience to him. We came to this opening like a square, and I could not believe what I was seeing. I saw a giant, a living, breathing, fleshy, human giant, huge, like 12 foot tall. And then we came, and there was all these people, and many of them were like 12 foot tall. Even the women were massive, like 12 foot tall. And we were like children. We were like children compared to them. We were like half their height. And I saw it, and they didn't pay as much attention as well. It was all normal. And they didn't pay much attention to the grey alien that we were following. And the old man that was with us, who had been abducted with us, he went and looked in one of these strange, like, kind of wooden, bright orangey wooden shops, like for some food and that. He was looking at all the strange things. He had his face pressed against the glass, and obviously he must have been out of range from the aliens that had abducted us. So they turned around and looked at him. And he made a dash for it, a run for it, but he hit like an invisible wall, because he was on some kind of invisible that only stretches so far. And when we saw that, when the aliens walked off, they turned around and looked forward, and they carried on walking. And me and the Latin woman that was with me, holding my arm, she was now holding my arm with her beautiful arm, and she was like super feminine. Oh, she had to be, didn't she? Because she was in a new place. It was overall a really good experience. Old man, that Australian old man that was with us, that was abducted, he ran out of space. He just had to follow us and the aliens. Didn't have a choice, basically. There must have been some kind of invisible leash that he was on. It was lovely for me, because this woman was like on my arm, treating me like I was a hero. He was great. But to see this giant, and see the skin on the giant, and see these huge, we walked near, there was people on the streets were wide enough for the giants. And see these women just shopping, huge, massive, wide, super wide, 12 foot tall women, and people, men in top hats just walking around, 12 foot tall, plus the top hats on top of that, and blue people. And there was gold in the streets, and there was fountains and cups around the fountain. We got to, in the square, there was like a fountain, and cups, and the people were putting cups into the fountain and drinking from this water. Looked like the water was like, obviously when it was coming out of the fountain, it was like white, bubbling, and it was like different, and I touched it, and I sat around the fountain like we were like children, and I sat around the fountain, and there was giants and people just going and taking cups, putting it into the water and drinking it, and dripping it down the chins and everything. Ugh, and the big eyes that these giants had, how wide they were. And it was just normal for them. So I thought, this is not Thailand. This is obviously NIBIRU. This is some wacky place. And that the Australian guy, he was chatting away in his Australian accent. He was just effing and he was swearing, and he was. I just told him to enjoy the experience. You know, there's no worries, just relax, enjoy the experience. You're lucky to be here. And he started bending towards my positivity. And there was the blue people, like slender blue people, like blue skin. And we drank. I put my cup in, and the aliens waited for us to drink from that water. They sat around, the three aliens with the masks on, the visors and that, you couldn't see their faces. The grey alien got the cup, and he drank, and the others drank. And they waited for us to get a cup and drink. So I just cautiously, they were watching me through the visors, I just cautiously reached towards a cup to see if they would let me pick a cup up. These cups were like big, like supersized cups. And they let me touch the cup. And I just reached slowly to see if they wanted me to do it or not. I reached down and picked up some of the water from the fountain. And I just slowly brought it back to me. I offered it to the woman and the Australian guy, and they drank. You must remember, the heat was coming down. This is a hot place. So I got another cup whilst they were drinking. I just threw the water on me and I drank it. To cool down, basically. But they didn't speak to us as such. It was more telepathy and body language. What was happening to me? It just seemed like a dream. It just seemed like a dream. I even thought it was a dream. I started thinking, maybe this is like a realistic dream, like a 3D tangible dream. And then I started thinking, what if my life back on Earth was just like a dream, like a simulation? What if this is the real world? And what is the government hiding from us? Hiding these type of places from us? So I drank that. That water was... It was like... a slightly thicker water. It was like not entirely clear. It was like... It was a different type of water. What happened to me was amazing and fantastic. It was real. A lot of people I've told about this, you might laugh and you might say, it's just an out-of-body experience. And for those people who don't believe in out-of-body experiences or don't believe in abductions, you might say this is not real. But my shoulders and my back and my neck has been better since the experience. There's so much better. I feel so much better. I feel lucky to have had this weird experience. So the aliens and the aliens in the visors, couldn't see their faces, but I could see the reflections. My reflections. The grey alien, the short grey alien, was drinking, and it had a really wide smile, just a subtle smile, like the Mona Lisa smile. And I tried after this experience happened to me, I tried to deny it. I tried to pretend it didn't happen. I just told myself it was just a dream. I've tried to deny this experience. I tried to deny some Mandela effects and abductions and strange things. But I actually think it actually happened to me. How do you think about this? How do you know that your memories are your own? How do you know that your own memories of the past are even your own, or implanted? And well, we were there for many. We were there for a long time, and it was very hot. And we walked through the streets of NIBIRU, and we had a good walk around. And some buildings and places were like triangle shapes and all different shapes. And some were like organic, like metal buildings, like a type of metal, shiny buildings. And you could see in the distance the huge, massive trees. There's some huge trees about. But it looked like, I'd say the sky wasn't entirely blue. It was blue towards the top, but it was like orangey. When you were walking through the streets, the air was thick and you could chew on the air. You didn't have to breathe the air in and out. You could just bite. And without your teeth touching, you could feel something in between your teeth. That is thick oxygen. The oxygen, very oxygen-rich place there, where the oxygen is like tangible. You can chew it. You can chew the oxygen. Your teeth don't touch when you chew. You can just bite. You can just put your face forward and clamp. You can chew on something without your teeth even touching. And you can just taste it. It tastes better than any chocolate. Tastes better than any roses. It tastes fantastic. It's just chewing oxygen. And you chew the oxygen there. It's an oxygen-rich environment. The atmosphere was so clean. Everything was clean. No litter on the streets. People very civilized. They didn't bother that we were only 6 foot tall. So me and this woman and this old Australian man, we walked around with these aliens as if it was normal. And the more we walked, for hours and hours and hours, we walked around. And we just felt fantastic. And we saw so many things. We experienced so many things. We just didn't want it to end. I just thought, right, leave me here. I'll live here forever. It was great. Even the giants, 12 foot tall people, they were friendly, they were kind, you could see the empathy in their faces. I just didn't want to leave. I just thought I could stay here forever. It's warm, it's good, it's friendly. It's like an advanced civilization, wherever it is. And you might say, oh, it wasn't on this earth. I know I'm going to get comments about people saying, oh, it was on another planet. Well, wherever it was real to me. And I just have a feeling that it could happen to me again. It could even happen to you. And if it does happen to you, then you won't be mocking me anymore, will you? So yeah, that's my experience. And believe me, you. Whew. Yeah, we saw so many things. It was just a great time. And I made some friends as well, So on the next episode, I will be talking more about... next episode after this will be more on Sasquatch. Thank you for listening. If you found this information, this story valuable, or if you don't like anything, or you think what you did like, please tell me. And see you next time.